Well, welcome. This is the Asylum of Truth, and my name is Shadow. It's not my birth-given name. It's just a nickname that was handed out for, well, you're listening to it. It was basically given to me because they reminded a person of Shadow Stevens. However, I don't use it all the time, but some people know me by that name. And why it's so appropriate for me is in 1992, I awoke from a slumber. You could call it a spiritual slumber if you want. But when I awoke, I felt like Rip Van Winkle waking up in the middle of World War III because my life was a mess. But when I woke up, I realized there was only one party responsible for everything that had ever happened to me. Or at least 50% of it anyway. And that would be me, because I was too busy listening to my ego rather than my conscience. I'll tell you, I felt like Neo taking the red pill because I asked for truth. Well, better be careful what you ask for, because you will receive it from the higher power. And yes, I am a believer in the higher power. And yes, I am a Christian. And I believe in what Christ taught. But more importantly, I don't believe and worship. I believe and follow, which is exactly what he asked us to do. He didn't ask us to get on his knees, our knees rather, and worship him. He said, follow me. That doesn't mean worship. It means make the decisions that he would do. Live without fear. I have achieved that state. I am an American. And it doesn't matter where I'm at, I am always an American. It's like a tribe. Maybe it's the original tribe. I'm not sure. And really, it doesn't matter, for I live in the here and now, in the moment. And like you, I am a conservative. I believe in self-reliance. I believe in accountability. Now on Tuesday, November 6th, this country had a decision to make. It made one. However, did it really? You're depressed, I know. Even listening to Rush, Sean, all of them, ready, wringing their hands. Instead of understanding the power that we have within us each to combine together and do things in a legal and civil fashion, which will turn this election on its head. Oh, let's just explain the difference between an American and a United States citizen, because I'm both. But I'm American first. And what an American never, ever does, it holds out his hand to the government for a check. No, a true American holds out his hand to his fellow men and says, I will give you a hand up. Just ask. Now, there have been so many lies told about the conservatives and the Republican Party. Now, I'm not referring to the Republican Party in Washington. They're a little lost on the path and direction we need to follow at this time. Me, I'm a simple man. I've just learned to think. And I learned from Norman Vincent Peale. Why? He's a smart man. Power of positive thinking. I even got further teachings from one of his greatest students, Robert Schuller, in the Crystal Cathedral. The power of positive thinking. The power of belief. We have been assaulted for years in this country by an unsavory element. They like to call themselves liberal. Oh, isn't it so cute? And more recently, progressive. However, if truth be told, they should be named regressive and oppressive, because that's what they want to do to you. They want you on their plantation to where you are subservient so they can rule you. Me, I ain't no United States citizen. I believe in the words of one of their former great presidents, John F. Kennedy, who asked his Democratic Party and the American people, oh, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Well, I guess you recognize by now I'm really not operating by a script. I never do. because if I did, then I wouldn't be real, and I wouldn't be giving you the truth. Now, what is truth? Let's first ask the question. Imagine I'm holding an object in my hand. To you, it's really just a block of wood, and that's what it is. And you can see it from the front that it was a block of wood. However, what you didn't see is that there's a hole through the top coming through the bottom. You would tell me, Shadow, it's a block of wood. And I would say, you've lied to me. You have only told me a portion of the truth, because that is all you've seen, is the one side of the block. If I were to have turned it over, you would have seen the hole. Then you could have told me the truth of the object in my hand. So one perception does not give you truth. And lately in this country, we've had the perception fed to a lot of our less informed citizenry. Oh man, you know, I'm going to struggle with some of this stuff. Our fellow citizens have not quite been told but one view of the truth, and that is of the liberal progressive left. Oh, let me see. What do? They hate religion, they hate initiative, they hate profit, and they're just oh so smart. And where do they congregate? Where are these people? Who are they that don't want you to be rewarded for what you do? Who want to take what you did and give it to someone who sat on their lazy butts and didn't lift a finger to help themselves? Isn't it amazing? They love Darwinism. They love evolution. They don't believe in a creator. Yet everything they do practices the opposite of their belief. For the theory of evolution, only the strongest survive. Then why do you help the least of us? I know why a Christian and an American does it, because that is where we show our compassion, where we know, but by the grace of our Father, there go we. No, to them, it's a vote. I can have power. I can be God. So where have these wonderful leftists, progressives, and liberals, where do they congregate? Oh, we know from the results of the polls. We know exactly where they are. They're in academia. Oh my. Let me just give you some stories about teachers. And I'm the first one that loves a great teacher, that challenges you to learn. Well, one of my first realizations of that profession is I bought a condo, or a townhome. Got into the board, you know, and they're starting to harass everybody. Turned out, they harassed you. They just made threatening calls. They did everything. They were pissing us all off, as rightfully we should be pissed off. Turns out everyone on the board was a grammar school teacher. I wonder why they think we were in their classroom when we were adults. The lesson was further refined a little earlier that I wasn't aware of. In my first college class, in English, I had written my first term paper. I got it back. It was a poor grade. I was written down because I used passive voice. And I think you can kind of tell by now I have a voice that gets me in trouble. Yes, it does. It's a curse. It's not a blessing. I raised my hand to that professor and I said, "Sir, why did they teach us passive voice if we're not supposed to use it?" Serious question. They did teach it to us. Why did you write me down for using something they taught me? I learned then, at that moment, when he called my name with anger in his voice, and he said, "You want to see how tough I can be?" At that moment, I realized in that class, he is God. So what did I do? I crawled like a worm up to the front of that class after class was over, and I'm on my knees apologizing because I know I just challenged authority. Oh, I was never going to get A in that class. I had already sealed my fate with that God.